Howdy folks, today is Friday, September 12th. It is 5:52 p.m. Hopefully you can see and hear everything a-okay. Temperature is a pretty nice 21 degrees Celsius. I'm running a little bit late. And if you can't tell by my voice, I'm a little bit under the weather. Just make sure the stream is coming through okay. PM, hopefully. I see Sebastian here, Gertej, Alicia Lewis, Zuhan, Divyesh, Epic Nation HD, thank you for upgrading to God tier. Oh, sorry, Zalin. I gotta turn the brightness up on my screen here. Random Travels, Drew Costin, Phuket Walk, Hazelnut, Marg D, Marge, Stephen Edwards, John Burke, Mark Foley, and everyone else, thank you ever so much. We are in Yonge and Eglinton, or near Yonge and Eglinton. I'm not being very adventurous today. I went out earlier and I recorded a video. I had kind of a nasty cold yesterday, and it's a little bit better. But I've got plans tonight. I'm supposed to meet some friends in Yorkville at 7. So I think I'll be the lame-o not having any drinks. So I apologize for the repeated route going down Yonge Street, but I wanted to do something today rather than nothing. So if you would be so kind as to come along with me, you're more than welcome. Steven says young and eligible. And thank you again, Liam, Epic Nation HD, for upgrading to God tier. But yesterday, the cold hit me pretty bad. I didn't make any content at all. I didn't do much of anything yesterday, other than watch the Jays win 6-0 at night. So I've got to be in Yorkville for 7. My phone tells me I'm going to get there a little after 7. But I don't think it's a big deal if I'm a little bit late. I'm meeting 3 other guys just for dinner, and I'm sure they'll be having some adult beverages. I will not, most likely. Yeah, I wanted to go over to Bloor West and live stream that way. There's a festival there. But maybe I'll do that tomorrow or Sunday. There's also one in Roncesvalles this weekend. I'll go record one of those. If I'm really up for it, I might go tonight. Drew says 6-0's not nothing. Phuket Walk says wishing you a speedy recovery. Well, I'm trying to will my way into being all better. I don't know how the hell I caught a cold. Maybe someone just didn't cover their mouth and coughed like a dirty animal on the subway. I don't know. But you don't catch them from nothing. But fortunately, it feels like the worst of it's over. But I did choose this route just because in case I'm not feeling all that great, I can always just bail and subway down to Yorkville. Chris says, evening all. So if you're familiar with my channel, this is going to be a very, very familiar live stream route. We're just going straight down Yonge all the way to Yorkville.
Well, I mean, it was like scheduled for the
So this morning I went out to the east side and I made a pretty unique video. I went home and rested up, and I finally decided to sell my PS5. I've had a ad up on Facebook forever on Marketplace that's had like hundreds and hundreds of inquiries. And there's been some people that have kind of wasted my time saying they're interested, so I was like, sure, I'll hold off, and then they flaked out, or I flaked out on people. But some dude messaged me and was like, hey, I'll come get that. I'm like, cool. So I brought the PS5 down to this corner right here. He had an article with me in it on his phone. He's like, is this you? I'm like, yep. He's like, well, I guess I can trust you. I was like, yeah, I'm not exactly going to be ripping you off. So he got the PS5, sent me an e-transfer. It was instant auto deposit. It's as good as a marketplace sale can go. I factory reset it right before I headed out to sell it to him. He didn't even want to look in the box or anything. He just trusted me. I did have all the original packaging. I wiped it down and made it as good as new. There's a look up at the e-condos. How much did I sell it for? It was a digital PS5 with one DualShock 5 controller, and I threw in a DualShock 4 controller because I don't need it. I already have two Xbox controllers lying around I can use with my PC, and I have a much better controller for my PC. I listed it for $450, but in my mind I was going to sell it for $4, and he said $375. I'm like, let's just do it. I just spent way too much time talking about that. If you know me, you know where I'm going in Yorkville tonight. There's only a few different bars I would actually want to go to there. I know Lisa could probably guess it. Making the switch to a Switch Mario Kart time? No, I've got a 9070 and a 9700X, or yeah, CPU. I can play pretty much anything on my PC, and video games are like a time sink. I waste so much time when I get into one, like I did with Rocket League, or like I am now. I'm really into Rematch. I've been playing that way too much. So since I have a PC that is more than capable, there's no need to have multiple game systems. I'm a 44-year-old grown-ass man. I was playing Rematch today, watching Bitcoin go up. Saving up for a Lambo. Not quite. Toronto is here. Chris Mills, Mimi, Vivian Johnson, and Marge. And I think I saw Medano. But thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I go live next. Normally it's 3-4 times a week. If I'm not feeling better on Sunday, I'm probably going to skip the Sunday Night Live. I didn't work out today, so hopefully I'm better tomorrow and I can do that. Hey, it's City TV News. The Farm Boy is in the background. I wonder if they're doing a story on Farm Boy, because that Farm Boy was closed due to a health code violation, and it doesn't look like it's opened back up. And if you look where they're angled, where she's standing, where the camera is, it looks like they're doing that to get the Farm Boy in the shot. And probably the sun is why they're not over here. But I'm willing to bet that's what they're reporting on. Someone speculated on Reddit that there were rats. And even though it's a new building, any area you have a lot of condo development and construction work, rats tend to show up in large numbers. I remember seeing dozens and dozens of rats scurrying around Yonge and Eglinton at night when that intersection was dug up. The abundance is here. I guess I can tell my friends if they're wondering where I am if I'm late. Just check the stream.
Well, like I haven't seen anything like so fucking bad. Like the in.
We are heading down towards Davisville. This could be one of the last weekends where you could take in some good patio weather. What street is this? This is Yonge Street. I almost said Davisville, then I almost said Eglinton. So you know my brain isn't quite working well. Michael had rats invade his apartment. It's a horror movie in real time. Yeah, I once had rats in a basement apartment when I lived near Koreatown. I remember it kind of freaked me out. I was definitely not expecting it. And then I sent an email to my landlord, and they just acted like it was no big deal. They're like, "Did you buy some rat traps?" I was like, "No. Isn't that your job?" Hey, that guy just recognized me. He's like, "He walks fucking Toronto." Yep. That would be one of the people that do that. There's Dave's Hot Chicken. I also had a thought to go live after tonight, but I don't know if I'd really be up to that. Maybe next week we'll do a Friday night live stream. And I don't want to give anything away, but I've got a meeting on Monday. Yours truly might be featured in a documentary series about Toronto. There's a major network putting one together on this city. And in one of the episodes, they want to feature me as, I guess, the quote-unquote local expert, even though I don't claim to be an expert on anything. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, so I will not elaborate more on that until they say I can, but that's kind of exciting. There's Struck Tube, where I bought my couch. Matt Doctor says Johnny the Celebrity. Well, I can't wait to hear someone rant and rave about how I was featured in a TV show. And for some reason that was all to spite that particular person. Fun times. There's a look north. Thank you, Morgan. Nothing is settled. Johnny, if the Jays make it to the playoffs, will you spring a few bucks to go to a live game, Noni? You know what? The last run, I went to almost every playoff game for 2 years. Sadly, The Batista bat flip game was the one game that series I didn't go to. But I got to see the Edwin walk-off homer in the wild card versus the Orioles. I got to see the game where Josh Donaldson took home plate on a ground ball to first to seal the series. So yeah, I think I will start setting aside a little bit of money to go towards seeing some Jays games in person.
Yeah, so it would be like 100.
I think back then I was paying about $200-300 for Upper Deck playoff tickets, but now it's probably going to be double that. Jenny Krutzkamp is here. Howard Charkos is Cheers JS. And Mods, go Jays go, indeed. Jenny K is also a Blue Jay fan.
Yeah. And I said back when I was like 20.
House wine. Aperol Spritz, $9.99. I've talked about this place before. They have really good deals. And it's really nice to see people going in there. I will be back, as Gertej would say. Greetings to Pand. Midnight Express says, enjoy the last few days of summer. Oh, it is getting dark and pretty cool at night. One thing that really sucks is... Oh, hey Liam. Again?
Take off my thing now, I guess.
Thank you.
It's funny though. I got off that thing till it came up and then. Yeah.
Alright.
But now I'm going to Midtown, so bye guys. This time I won't see you with.
That's thank you for the God tier and the super. That's
28 months.
Epic National HD. Alright, I'm gonna talk about this buildings over here.
Huh?
So what's happened is this block is being reconstructed, and there were two local fruit markets, Fresh Buy Market and Fruits Basket Fresh, that were quite beloved by a lot of locals in the area. And both stores have had to close. And that is a massive loss to this neighborhood, because little fruit markets like that are just so much better than going to big grocery stores. Where are you going now?
I'm going back to Midtown. I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to watch some anime movie. I forget what it's called.
Young and Eglinton?
Yeah.
And you're going to take the subway?
Yeah. It's going up.
Are you going to pay for it?
What?
Are you going to pay a subway? No, do you already have a subway?
I just got off the subway.
Oh, so you're already on your 2 hour. Yeah, because if you weren't, I would say just walk,
Yeah,
lazy
just
bones. Walk anyways.
No.
That's the epitome of lazy.
I am lazy. This guy. Alex is texting me, this guy.
What was that?
Alex is texting me, saying this guy. Like, so this guy, because I sniped you. Hey, Alex, you didn't like the stream. I caught you in 4K. How dare you not like the stream?
Well, I hope you enjoy the movie. Are you meeting Alex for the movie?
With my friends from long-time friends.
Is Dave's Chicken any good? Yes, it's expensive for what it is, but good it is. All right, Liam's gonna pop into the station here.
Yeah, where I came from.
Well, thank you for popping in. Thank you for the support.
I'll see you probably someday, dude.
Enjoy the movie. There goes Liam. What is this Fiat driver doing? There's a motorcycle in the lane. And they just drove up right beside the motorcycle. No, you cannot or should not ever do that. And if it's a bicycle, you can, as long as you leave a full meter between you and them. But bikes can take the full lane if they want. Or the rider can. I don't, only when safety necessitates it, but if that is the case, you can ride your bike smack in the middle of the lane. Yeah, Kartik, hopefully the Jays pulled off, and hopefully where I'm going, I get a view of the game. We're playing the sub 500 Orioles, a team many experts, in fact, I think almost every expert picked to finish ahead of the Jays. There was a post on Reddit of a bunch of CBS experts, AL East predictions, and the Jays were almost universally picked to be last. Will the Buffalo Bills go 16-0 this year? No. And will they win the Super Bowl? No. But will they have a good year? Yes. Will KC beat them in the playoffs? Possibly. Although KC doesn't have much in the way of receivers right now. Xavier Worthy is down. Rashee Rice is suspended. They got Hollywood Brown. No offense to Travis Kelce, but he's nothing special anymore. Don't tell Taylor I said that. Greetings, Mimi. Jasmine NYC. Good to see you. But why don't Canadians watch CFL? They most prefer NFL. I don't think that's necessarily true. The NFL is very popular here, but so is CFL. Not in Toronto, but in other markets. I think if Toronto ever did land an NFL team, which seems unlikely given the proximity to Buffalo, I think the CFL could easily coexist with the NFL. Some Line 1 trains crossing one another, or passing. The Argos have a pretty small but loyal fan base. I don't think that goes away if the NFL came to town. And they only play once a week, so it's not like another sport where they're playing 4, 5, 6 times a week. One could easily make the time to watch the Argos and an NFL team. But you go to Winnipeg or Regina, and the CFL is still kind of a big deal. Hey, Terry Fox Run, Sunday, September 14th. If you were to make a short list of greatest Canadians of all time, that guy would be a strong candidate. Or at least most inspirational Canadians. Hardy says Halifax could use a CFL team. Yeah, there could be one on the East Coast for sure, and Halifax would be the likely spot. They'd probably only have to pull 15,000, 20,000 fans a game, which seems doable, even though it's not really that big of a market. Adventures with Dan says, glad I'm not the only person wearing a Blue Jays cap. You were asked earlier if you were a bird watcher. You responded by saying something like that. Hey, we're playing our fellow bird bros today. Hopefully they do us a favor. Christos supports any event that generates income for local businesses. I would generally agree with that. Maybe not any event. but most events. How am I looking for time? It's 6:17. I'm usually a stickler for not being late. I'm super punctual, but hey, that's a really cool van. Well, I'm meeting 3 friends that I went to high school with. We don't see each other very much, so that's why even though I'm not well, I agreed to go. Strids, my brother. Gord Downey could be on the list, yeah, for sure. Geddy Lee. I think my brain's too far gone to rack up. What about Ferguson Jenkins, the first Canadian to make the Hall of Fame? I think the first black Canadian to make Major League Baseball. If you go back in history, there's a lot more great ones that we probably don't talk about a whole lot anymore. If you get into hockey, you probably have a list 100 deep. Ed the Sock, there we go. You don't think an NFL team will reach Canada anytime soon, hopefully within the next 5 years? The Expos will return to Canada. I think that's the most likely major sports team to move to Canada. It would be a baseball team in Montreal. They would need a stadium deal. Even though they're fixing up the O, I don't think that's an appropriate long-term home. Yeah, I think the Bills are just too close. Although if an NFL team came here and they wanted to build a stadium at Downsview, I think that would kind of work well. Johnny, is the Skydome again? Sadly not. But imagine the goodwill that Rogers would get if they just renamed it the Rogers Skydome. Put the Rogers logo right in front of the old one. They would get so much positive press out of doing that. Yeah, no one will actually call it the Rogers Skydome other than corporate shills, but I think that would be a massive win. Krista says it's tough to conflate ethnicity and someone's accomplishments. In 2025 it is, but if you turn back time to when Ferguson Jenkins was playing, he was clearly dealing with an extra barrier that a lot of other players didn't have. So to not just make it, but be one of the cream of the crop, I think, is worth making that distinction. It's the same reason why you hear about Hank Aaron a lot and Willie Mays. Different time, different circumstances. As kids, they didn't even have access to all the same things kids today do. And we're at Heath Street and Yonge Street. And I guess we're sticking to the west side of Yonge Street. Mimi says it will always be the Skydome to you anyways. You and anyone else who is a true blue Torontonian. Carl Roth says, we love this Friday evening stream. Perfect time. Glad it's appreciated, Carl. I've been meaning to just chill out at home and do a Friday night stream at some point. on this channel, similar to what I do on Stumbles. So perhaps we'll do that in the coming weeks, and I'll try to do a nighttime one as well. Billy T says Toronto changes the names of venues a lot. That's a common theme in a lot of cities. When that corporate contract runs out, they sell the next name off to the highest bidder. But I don't think there's anything dumber than having Rogers Stadium up at Downsview that's not really a stadium, it's a concert venue, and having the Rogers Centre, which is a stadium, be the Rogers Centre. Centre sounds like a place you hold a convention or a banquet hall kind of place. Doesn't sound like a baseball field. There's a story on Reddit of a guy who went to the Rogers Centre instead of Rogers Stadium, or he went to the wrong one. There's also Rogers Place. What the hell is that? I could have called it Rogers Field, Rogers Dome, Center. And then they spent all that money making it a dedicated baseball venue that could host the occasional concert. It's time to rename it. Chris Mills says it's all about that money. Christos is just glad work is over and you can decompress with a stogie and a beer. Well, thank you, Carl. Probably because center is spelled wrong. It is spelled 100% correctly. I don't know what kind of freak spells center ER. Probably the same kind of nut job that measures temperature in Fahrenheit and distance in miles. How can you go to the wrong one? I think they just assumed that the word stadium applied to the Sky Dome. Carl says the old Downsview area could be a really good site for a stadium. For an NFL stadium, yeah. Because they only play every other week pretty much, 8 times a year. And there's a GO train station there, a subway station, and it's right off the highway. And they could even build a parking lot and get some tailgating, as much as I prefer stations near Union or stadiums near Union or Exhibition. I think Downsview would be perfect for an NFL stadium. Phuket Walk says Vancouver Customs called you out for lying. They said you worked at... Just reading your comments. But I had to pick my head up and look where I was going. Johnny says bring back the Sky Dome name. Zeldini's. Oh, we're gonna miss the pickleball action. I'm on the wrong side of the street. Oh well. Yeah, we are in the vicinity of Holy Chuck. I think I saw Action Kid go live. It was like his first time in several weeks, if I'm not mistaken. He's back in Saigon. Our gang, the Little Rascals. I am well. Carl, I don't know. Thank you, Michael Kaiser.
Now we have a button called Ramble, where you click it and you just like.
I've been seeing some videos on the US. Apparently, Florida tourism in the housing market has dried right up. But media and politicians are careful not to acknowledge the lack of Canadians and international video visitors for the most part. Las Vegas is the same damn thing. I was going to go to Las Vegas earlier this year with friends, but we bailed on that. I think I said in an earlier stream the only way I would go is if the whole trip was comped. I don't think that has changed. But sure, send me a ticket and pay for my hotel. I think I'll go anywhere. District 3 is where the party is at in Saigon. Isn't it District 1 where Bui Vien Walking Street is? That's where my Airbnb was. And a fantastic Airbnb at that. It was at the One Saigon. Hey, David Warren, holy cow. David Warren, thank you oh so much for the support, $30. Thank you. I have no words to say other than extreme gratitude for you, sir. Thank you, David. As we look directly into the sun. Man, that was our first super chat. We're 40 minutes in. Thank you for breaking the spell. I have done a few streams where I didn't get a single super chat. And I didn't even notice until someone else pointed it out to me. But thank you, David Warren. Chris says, great route this Friday. All of us here must be in a good mood. Well, this was my lazy route. I was going to Yorkville anyways. And I normally stream at some point on Fridays. But after spending all day yesterday hibernating, just under the covers with a nasty cold, trying to get my steps in today. Howard Charco says the USA doesn't need anything from Canada. Yeah, just our lumber, our potash, our uranium, our natural gas, our tourists, all the snowbirds buying up Florida real estate. Oh, just billions and billions of dollars, I guess. But other than that, they don't really need anything from us. There's a look along Woodlawn. Greetings, Magic Eraser. Carl spent yesterday indoors as well. Yeah, and I didn't have any videos for tomorrow ready to go. So today's video was actually supposed to be Saturday morning, and then I was going to live stream this morning. That was my first plan, but I wasn't feeling well enough, so I set Saturday's video to go live Friday morning, which is today. And then I figured I'm going to have to go out and make a video for Saturday because I'm all out. So I did that early this afternoon. Anna's Heavenly Nails. I can fall behind time to time. Yeah, Carl, I think the bottom has fallen out of Florida real estate. And a lot of restaurants and local businesses in areas that are hard hit are closing down in big numbers. Carl says, the only thing you were saying citizens need is a stable banking system in Canada. Canada is the only place where they can find out right now and into the future. I think we have probably the most stable banking system in the entire world. The big five all sailed through 2008. Now there was a secretive government bailout of sorts propping them up, but it was nothing like the disaster that hit the US banking system. Well, that's a busy place. It's a popular diner.
No, my specialist. I have a specialist.
Oh, we just all learned that that lady has a specialist. Just got here. Hello everyone. Greetings. Welcome to the stream. There's the Summerhill LCBO. Not the biggest LCBO, but I would call it the flagship store. And the old train station there, Summerhill subway station. One of the few subway stations that doesn't have a bus servicing it. Daryl says, as an American, I can understand how Canadians feel. Just know most of us are friends. No disagreement from me there. Carl says TD Bank now is the worst banking system next to CIBC, followed by World Bank. Well, if you follow the markets, the big five banks have been a very, very steady return. So maybe your personal experiences aren't great. And I just debanked, actually. My bank isn't even a bank. I can receive my monthly pay from Google into it. They gave me a card that works at any ATM in Canada. I don't pay a fee. I get 2.75% interest on my checking account. That e-transfer I got for selling my PS5 came instantly. And I'm not giving a big bank any money or letting them hold money as ransom to waive their fees. So yeah, I'm very not a fan of using the big banks, but at the same time I recognize financially they're as stable as anyone bank in the world. And they're still a sound investment. I think RBC is the biggest. yeah, their user experiences, their websites and apps are horrible experiences, to say the least. Look at that condo. I don't love the lack of balconies, but I do love the lack of blue or green glass cladding it. It's at Scrivener Square. Why do I picture someone with a heavy British accent saying Scrivener Square? Or even just a light English accent. Here's a look at the Summerhill LCBO, but thank you again, David Warren. RD says Summerhill LCBO will one day return to being a train station, serving the future Midtown GO line. Yeah, Reese from RM Transit has gone on record saying many times that that should turn back into a commuter rail line. Eat outside at a fancy restaurant on a sidewalk and you get to be in a live stream. It's a 2-for-1. There's Teroni. I bet their patio is pretty busy. I don't know if I'm going to be on the patio tonight or if we'll be indoors. My friend just messaged. Reservation under my name, 7 p.m. See you there. My other friend says, sounds good. I might be early, heading there now from Bathurst and St. Clair. You will be early. I think he's driving his Tesla there, which is a weird choice, but he's kind of the I always drive everywhere I go kind of person. Carl says, my experiences with TD are similar to yours. You wanted to get out and you did slowly over time. Yeah, and they charge you a fee for moving your accounts over, like your RSP and your locked-in accounts, if you have a Lira with them, which is really just a locked-in RSP, or your TFSA, but a lot of institutions will pay that transfer fee for you. Is it allowed to set things up on the sidewalk like that restaurant? If they have the permit for it, it is. There's the Cafe TO system restaurants can participate in if they're in an eligible area. They have to pay for it, of course. And it has to meet certain design guidelines for safety purposes, obviously. I'd argue this was easily one of the best things to come out of the pandemic. One good thing we lost was the active TO, where they would shut down major street corridors on weekends and open them up to just anyone and everyone who wanted to ride their bike or take the family out for a stroll. It's kind of unfortunate they put an end to that. The Blue Jays were actually a reason for getting rid of some of them on Lakeshore. They said it was increasing congestion going to the Blue Jay game. Well, if you're going to a Blue Jay game and you're not driving to a GO station and parking, I don't really have any sympathy for you. So it kind of sucks we lost that, but I'm glad we kept active TO, or our Cafe TO. Lisa says, whatever happened to open streets? That was another one. Yeah, we didn't have that this year, right? Open Young, Open Bloor, Open Streets TO. That's a topic worth investigating. Yeah, I just got a notification. Ethereum is trading very high right now. Sweet. Hey, Brad and Marie Palmer here. Good evening, Brad and Marie. That guy looked at my camera and then he looked at me like, I'm gonna bop you on the head. And we've made it to Ramsden Park. So we're not far from Yorkdale or Yorkville. Rosedale Station is across the street.
And that will take her like an hour.
I've got 17 minutes to get to Yorkville Village and be on time, although it's not a big deal if I'm slightly later. Gertech says dingus? I wouldn't say dingus. He didn't say or do anything. He just gave me a death glare. Carl Roth, I don't know if everybody that is shy of the camera is up to something illegal, but there was a time when I was walking north at night, about 5 years ago, doing a live stream, and this guy with bright orange pants started chasing me. He thought I was out filming him. And a lot of people in the chat speculated he was probably dealing a certain substance. Because why else would he take such offense? But he ran right at me. Like, he was full on sprinting to me, and there just so happened to be a police cruiser stopped at a red light, if you remember that. And I ran up to the cop and I was like, hey, that guy's chasing me. And just the very fact that I was talking to the cop made the guy kind of scurry away like a little weasel. If that cop wasn't there, who knows what would have happened. And I didn't run from the guy because I was scared of him. I ran because why not? Why would I be involved in a confrontation if my legs can take me out of that? You don't know what some crazy nut job is going to be up to. Just leave. Carl remembers that guy? Yeah, and if you are a drug dealer or something along those lines and you happen to be in someone's live stream, just go about your business and not draw attention to yourself. Like, why would you draw attention to yourself? Nobody is going to notice or see you if you're just a background character on someone's live stream. I think there's intelligence or sanity issues at play as well sometimes with people that openly take issue with it. Like, dude, just wear a hat, mask, and glasses if you're that worried about being seen in public. Credence says, hey everyone, happy Friday. Credence, thank you so much. Thank you for the $2.79 Credence, it's much appreciated. Happy Friday to you. Carl says I did the right thing by running away. Well, even if I'm not the least bit physically intimidated by the guy, and I wasn't, if he's crazy enough to chase after me for seemingly no reason, he might be crazy enough to have a weapon. You don't know. Why roll the dice and find out? Hey, Janice is here. Let's change the topic. It's enough about that. There's Canada or Canadian Tire. Hey, something's going on at the old Masonic Temple tonight. I wonder who's playing. Let's ask Google. What concert is playing at the Masonic Temple tonight? So the story so far with Neck Deep, Origami Angel, and Pain of Truth will play tonight at the Masonic Temple Theater, which is just on the right. These are the early birds that want to catch the opening act. Hey, this is Davenport. I walked along here in the video I posted yesterday. Gertej says, what kind of shoes am I wearing? I'm wearing the Ultra Escalante. I think these are the 4s. Either wear these or my Zero barefoot shoes. I saw a girl out jogging in the barefoot shoes that I wear, which was a very rare observation. Downsview would be better off being a permanent racetrack for IndyCar Racing Series, better than moving it to Markham. That's true. Anything is better than moving that to Markham. What would be awesome is if they could somehow incorporate the Don Valley Parkway into the Indy race. What an asshole. That guy makes an asshole turn and then throws on his four-ways. I don't blame the person who honked at him. Christo says, speaking of shoes, you need new runners.
Yeah, but I'm not going to fucking that's why this ever thought.
Alright, so the quickest way for me to get there would be to make a right on Yorkville or Cumberland, but you've come all this way with me, we might as well see a slice of Bloor Street, which should be fairly busy. But this stream will be wrapping up in about 10 to 15 minutes. Sorry, it's on the shorter side. But at least I'm feeling a little better than I thought I was. I've got a decent amount of steps in today. You can see my little afternoon adventure. But if you want to see pathetic, look at yesterday. Woof. That's what happens when you stay in bed all day. Marie Palmer, I don't know why your message got flagged. Hopefully a monitor or a moderator released it. But we are literally a block and a half away from downtown. Literally, physically, to interchangeable terms most of the time. RD says Young and Bloor is one of the most beautiful intersections on earth. I don't know about that. There's a look along Cumberland. Mark 279, get well soon. Thanks for the stream, Mark. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark. Much appreciated. Part of getting well soon will involve showing some restraint and not having a certain kind of beverage tonight. Although I think maybe I could get away with one or two. But here's what a viewer just called a beautiful intersection. Thank you, Shadow Joker. And this is the Mink Mile stretch of Bloor Street that just refers to this part of the street between Yonge and Avenue Road and Queen's Park. And it features the most expensive real estate or retail real estate per square foot in Canada. There's a big Canadian retail success story, Aritzia. There's an Arc'teryx. There used to be an H&M over there. That's now a Fabricland. There's another Canadian retail success story, Holt Renfrew. The last remaining high-end department store in the city. Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom are long gone. Speaking of department stores, Simon's looks like it's getting ready to open soon in the Eaton Center, as is the second downtown Italy location. There's an Italy right there that's been there for quite a while, but one is moving into the Eaton Center. And I think one of the signatures of Italy is having a view out of the restaurant. I remember eating at the World Trade Center location and having a spectacular view. In New York, in this one, you get a nice view. So I think part of that facade, there might be some windows looking onto Yonge Street, if I'm not mistaken. I might be very wrong on that. I just associate that with part of the Italy experience. As we cross Bay Street, and I'm not a huge fan of Italy myself. It's like you pay prices for a decent Italian restaurant, but there's no bread or butter or balsamic to dip it into, given to you.
Like a physics party.
Gotta love that. Those guys really need to just have like a QR code set up that links to like a little screen that will generate an e-transfer tip. I bet if they just had a sign up that said send me $1 and there's a QR code, a lot more people would do that. Because who has change in their pockets anymore? I used to always throw my extra change at buskers that brightened the mood. All right, we are in Yorkville Village. I think more than a few viewers probably know exactly where I am meeting my friends at 7. Hey, it's 6:59. I'm not that late. Not bad timing on my part, especially since I left my microphone receiver in my apartment and I had to run back and get it, and that cost me 5 minutes of streaming. Rob says hello. And because I'm going to be cutting this a little short, it doesn't look like we're going to hit the 500 viewer mark tonight, unfortunately. But I'm definitely super appreciative of everyone who tuned in. Mods, Patreon supporters, channel members, silent lurkers, people that watch because it's in their feed but don't subscribe. All right. I don't want to pick up a copyright right at the end of the stream, but I want to thank everyone so much for tuning in. I hope you have an awesome, awesome weekend. If I'm feeling really good tomorrow, there's a chance I'll do another live stream tomorrow or Sunday. Not really sure, but big thanks to everyone who sent support. Maybe Billy T. Hi from Syracuse, Susanna. Hi and bye from Toronto. We are at the end of the live stream, so thank you so much, guys. Have an awesome, awesome weekend. There should be a video tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. EST. Crystal says Hemingway's overpriced. I think it's one of the few not overpriced places in Yorkville. But yeah, that's probably where I'm going. Marge, $5 for a very soft drink. If by soft, maybe you mean light and alcoholic, but thank you, Marge, for the super chat at the buzzer. All right, I gotta go in and meet my friends. So have a good night, guys. Yoink. Thank you, Brad, Madano, Jenny K, Mark D, Trojan Elk Explorer, Alicia, Gertej, Vivian, and everyone else. Yoink.